The following recording is a production of Kicking Out at 2 in conjunction with the Retromania Pro Wrestling Podcast Network and is intended for private use only. For more information, head on over to facebook.com/Kicking Out at 2 or our Twitter handle @Kicking Out 2, along with searching Retromania with a W on any and all podcast platforms available to listen to archive shows such as this and all the great content of the Retromania Pro Wrestling Podcast Network. Evergreen content at your fingertips anytime at your listening pleasure. And with that being said, we thank you for listening and hope you enjoy the show.
WWF Superstars compete in the Royal Rumble for the undisputed WWF Championship, including Jake the Snake Roberts, the Barbarian, the Model Rick Martel, the Berserker, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Nasty Boy Sags, Repo Man, Sergeant Slaughter, alleged real world champion Ric Flair, Hercules, Colonel Mustafa, the Macho Man Randy Savage, Skinner, the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Haku, Shawn Michaels, the Warlord, El Matador, Sid Justice, IRS, Nikolai Volkov, the Texas Tornado, Virgil, the Undertaker, the Big Boss Man, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Superfly Stuka, and the immortal Hulk Hogan. It's time to rumble! It's time for the Royal Rumble!
Yeah, that's right. Royal Rumble season in effect here on Kicking Out at 2. I am one half of this hosting squad, this tag team, if you will, running down the aisle of nostalgia, pro wrestling nostalgia, that is. Dave Rosenbluth, along with my good, dear personal, longtime friend, Dennis J. Levy. Just put the microphone down closer to you.
Sure.
So you can, yeah. What's up, buddy?
Chilling. Excited to
finally do this. This has been a long time coming.
Yeah. And it was so funny. Here it is. You get this very flamboyant intro, and all of a sudden you're like, instantly like, dude, put your fucking mic down. Of course, I had to fuck it up.
No, you didn't. No, it's no, you didn't fuck it up. No. I was just, it's, you know, sometimes it's better to have organic things like that mixed into the show, so it doesn't sound so funny, crisp and clean. But I can appreciate your appreciation for it. It's about time we've done this because this has been a year in the making. This was I remember a couple of years ago we did some Royal Rumble watch-alongs, and you picked one of the, like, we did like a selection, and this was one of the choices, and it didn't make the cut. We watched like the 2001 Royal Rumble. And then we did it again, and this was another choice, and you picked the 2002 Royal Rumble. And then finally, last year was the 30th anniversary of this particular Royal Rumble match, and my studio setup was not set up because the basement had flooded. I had some asshole contractor that couldn't do the fucking job properly. The floor, he was no call, no showing. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put this off for the following year, and we're 31 years, close to 31 years removed from this, in my opinion, the greatest Royal Rumble match of all time. You heard the lineup as we opened up the show of the guys that were in the Royal Rumble match. We're going to watch it with you all on Peacock. Search Season 5, Episode 1, Royal Rumble 1992. I'm going to have you guys I'm going to have you fast forward all the way to 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 30 seconds where we're going to listen to some of the entrants in the Royal Rumble match, giving their predictions on who's going to win, which is more than likely themselves. And then we're going to watch the actual 1992 Royal Rumble match itself when Ric Flair made history to become the World Wrestling Federation champion in that very match. Spoiler alert, Ric Flair wins. It's a stacked Rumble. We're going to have a lot to talk about. Dennis, it's so good to have you here. The first Kicking Out at 2 of 2023.
I'm very excited. I'm really
excited. And we also got some big plans for the podcast in the next year or so. I talked about it on previous recordings. We're going to do roulette style, where we're going to pick what we're going to watch within the anniversaries of 1993, 1988, 1998, 2003, and 2008. So those are the years that we're going to be covering. We might even not even do some watch-alongs. We might actually just do some plain old classic reviews, or we might even do topics, and instead of just watch-along. So I'm going to try and mix it up and give a little bit of a variety. Go back to what we started with on Kicking Out at 2, while kind of mixing up the format a little bit. Still might not run every single week on this podcast, but at least once, twice, maybe even 3 times, maybe 4 times a month, you'll get a podcast. But there will be content for you, fresh and as regular as possible when it comes to our schedule. So go to Retromania. You can find us there. You can find a new season of Marking Out the Days. Raw is 30. Kobe and I are going to cover, with the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw coming up, we're going to cover each month. We're going to pick one episode from the very first year of Monday Night Raw for each month. So in the archives, at this moment in time, you will find the very first episode of Monday Night Raw in watch-along form with Kobe and myself. We covered the inaugural episode. That's a lot of fun. But on our next recording, going to give you a little preview here, Dennis. We in our pre-production meeting in the truck on the way over here, we talked about doing a watch-along of a very early episode of Monday Night Raw. And it's been decided that our next recording will be the episode of Monday Night Raw following the 1993 Royal Rumble pay-per-view when Ric Flair wrestled Mr. Perfect in a loser leaves WWF match. So that's going to be a lot of fun on our next recording. But not to fast forward too much, Royal Rumble 1992, the match coming up, 1 hour, 20 minutes, 30 seconds. I'm going to have the audio up for this first few moments, maybe even Jack Tunney's introduction with the rules of the Royal Rumble match itself, because he's going to be in the ring. And we're off to the races. And from time to time, I'll give you timestamps and do your thing. If you got the guts, yeah. So, with that being said, when I say play, press play. And I'll give you a countdown in 3, 2, 1, play.
And now back to the Oakland. The winner of the Royal Rumble as the undisputed World Wrestling Federation champ undoubtedly will be defending that title at WrestleMania 8 in Indianapolis at the Hoosier Dome on Sunday, April the 5th. Now, we had occasion to talk to some of the participants in the Royal Rumble, even out at the 11th hour. Let's get their thoughts.
Yeah, the Royal Rumble, the single greatest wrestling event and match ever in the history of the World Wrestling Federation. Competition, yeah, against 29 of the greatest wrestlers in the world, and only one man can win the prestigious World Wrestling Federation Championship belt. I've won it before. I've been there before. I've been to the top of the mountain, and I'm going back. I'm going back this afternoon. 2 things I want to accomplish this afternoon, yeah. Number 1, sometime I want to get my hands on the Snake Man. And the other thing is, yeah, I want to once again be the World Wrestling Federation champion. Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Dig it? See, it is this simple. The man who is standing last in the Royal Rumble will be the World Wrestling Federation champion. So all I ask you to do is open your eyes. It will hit you in the head like a shot. For you are looking at the man that is superior to all. You are looking at the next World Wrestling Federation champion. You are looking at Sid Justice. Come here. No, closer. You know, one of the biggest thrills in my life is when I get to take something. And today, I got the opportunity to take the biggest prize ever from 29 of the best wrestlers in the World Wrestling Federation. And you know something? Wouldn't it be just great? The World Wrestling title right around my waist. The Repo Man. Oh, what a thrill. Because remember, what's mine is mine. And what's yours? It's mine too. The last time the British Bulldog was in a match like this was in the Royal Albert Hall in London, England, my hometown. And what a thrill it was for me to dispose of 19 other opponents over the top rope and stand victorious in the hallowed halls of the Royal Albert Hall. But what a bigger thrill it's going to be this afternoon when the British Bulldog steps in the Royal Rumble and disposes of 29 other opponents and gets the World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Championship belt around my waist. That will truly be a Royal Rumble.
They say you can't always get what you want, but I've always been able to get what I need. This afternoon, the World Wrestling Federation Championship belt is on the line. For 29 other men, it's going to be a big disappointment. I would never disappoint myself. You, I don't mind. And Savage, believe me when I tell you, I'll be waiting for you. Yeah, I'll save some for you. And I'll have just enough left to walk out with that title around my waist. Trust me.
You're looking at the next World Wrestling Federation champion. You're looking at the man who rocks the cradle. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Today we find out who's the fastest of all. We're at the Royal Rumble, and 30 of the greatest World Wrestling Federation superstars gathered today to find out who is the man. For 4 months, I've called myself the real world champion. So for me, there's no back door. But remember, boys, and that's to all 29 of you, I've lived one way, and one way only, and that's with the belief to be the man, you have to beat the man. And today, at the Royal Rumble, I am the man. Woo! Oh, what a busy afternoon it's going to be at my funeral parlor. 29 hearses have already been prepared. 29 bodies, 29 caskets.
Standing atop this mass carnage will be the Undertaker, crowned once more World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion. You know something, Hulkamaniacs? Later on this afternoon, we get to prove a point that no one else can prove except us, man. In one given afternoon, we're going to prove to the whole world the power of Hulkamania. We're going to prove that we can beat all 29 other superstars in the World Wrestling Federation to get our WWF title back. Oh yeah, winning the Royal Rumble is one thing, the most prestigious event in the WWF. But when you add the WWF title on top of that, that changes the whole picture, man. But Hulkamaniacs, this is our cup of tea. They're going to be coming from all different directions, friend or foe. They're all the same in the Rumble. But it's just like always, we're always getting cheap-shotted by one of our so-called friends, or we're always getting cheap-shotted by a no-good Jack Tunney. But this is our cup of tea. And in the Royal Rumble, we're going to prove that Hulkamania reigns supreme. But to all those people in Titan Tower, in the WWF offices, don't worry about The Undertaker or Jake the Snake stealing that belt, man. Me and my little holsters have a special battle plan for the Royal Rumble. And what you gonna do when Hulk Hogan and his little holsters rumble all over you?
All right.
They don't do promos like that anymore.
No.
Now time for the Royal Rumble.
This is what we've all been waiting for.
Remember, in the Royal Rumble, it is every man for himself. And elimination occurs when a wrestler is thrown out over the top and onto the floor. Now, the man who will win the Royal Rumble and the one man remaining after all 30 participants have entered will be crowned the undisputed World Wrestling Federation Champion.
Yeah.
Very simple. It's over the top and down to the
With a brief
concrete
statement
to be
prior to the
eliminated.
Rumble's beginning, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce to you the esteemed president of the World Wrestling Federation,
Great ovation.
John the Tape Tunney.
Thank you very much, Howard. I would like to take this opportunity to officially welcome everyone who is watching this spectacular event with us. The winner of this event will not only have the prestige of beating 29 other men, but will also be declared the undisputed World Wrestling Federation champion.
Come on, let's go.
Bobby.
I would like to say in closing, may the best man win. Thank you.
Wow. All right. We've gone through all of that. Now, Dennis, you remember how this all transpired, right? Against Hulk Hogan the following Tuesday at the This Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view, which you can find in the archives here at Kicking Out at 2. Search Hogan the following Tuesday at the This Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view, which you can find in the archives here at Kicking Out at 2. Search Retromania the following Tuesday at the This Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view, which you can find in the archives here at Kicking Out at 2. Search Retromania with a W. At the This Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view, which you can find in the archives here at Kicking Out at 2. Search Retromania with a W. You'll find it there. And at that point, Ric Flair got involved yet again. And Hulk Hogan regained the WWF Championship, but Jack Tunney had took the title away from him because Ric Flair's involvement in the match with Hogan. Actually, it's funny. The spot that signaled it was Flair was standing in front of Jack Tunney arguing with him. Hogan grabbed a chair, nailed Flair. Flair falls on Jack Tunney. Hogan gets in the ring. He throws the ashes from the urn in Undertaker's eyes while the referee is distracted. Big boot, leg drop. Hogan must pose, win the title at the end of the day. So that's how we got to this, where they decided to put the title on the line in this Royal Rumble match. Obviously, the most stacked Royal Rumble, at least in my opinion. Let's go through the list of. I'm going to look up the list of participants in the 19.
Where's the bet? $1 Million Man and the British Bulldog.
Yeah, that's definitely a stacked.
It's funny. You could go. These two guys that are arguably, probably, you can argue that either
they're
these
both
guys,
Hall of Famers.
Both Hall of Famers, but they're the best ever not to win the big one.
They are in that top. There are a lot of guys in this Rumble that are in that conversation of the best to never win the big one. DiBiase being one of them. DiBiase was slated to win the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 4, as he was in the finals of that tournament, and he lost to Randy Savage, and they put the belt on Savage. But it was DiBiase was the first choice, and from what I understand, DiBiase had, it was Honky Tonk Man who didn't want to give up the Intercontinental title. That's the rumor, was that Honky didn't want to give up the Intercontinental title, and they needed a babyface champion because they couldn't have the two top heel champions. So that was where they put Savage in. But I think Savage was building momentum anyways. I don't find that story to be 100% true.
Yeah.
I'm sure it plays a part, but yeah, let's go through the list of the Royal Rumble entries. So we have Bulldog at number 1 and Ted DiBiase at number 2. With now DiBiase being the first person to be eliminated by the British Bulldog in 1 minute and 18 seconds.
I wonder if he was injured or something.
This was towards the back nine of DiBiase's in-ring career.
Yeah.
He would retire in the summer of '93. They had, I wouldn't say downplayed his role, but DiBiase went from being like an upper mid-card guy to then he was a tag team guy. Not long after this Royal Rumble match, him and IRS would end up winning the tag team titles from the Legion of Doom. And here comes number 3, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Let's play the audio for this. That is true. That is true by Gorilla at that time. Flair would be the first person in the 1 through 5 category to win the Royal Rumble match. It was a nice little foreshadowing by Gorilla Monsoon. You see, Mr. Perfect, the executive consultant at the time, was like Ric Flair's like sidekick, manager / whatever. Bobby Heenan was still a part of the operation, but on the commentary side of it. So this is where it begins for Flair, his journey to win this match right here. Let's talk about this Hall of Fame lineup that's in here. We're going to go through the entrance as we watch this. But Flair, another guy, Mr. Perfect, big British Bulldog, Sensational Sherry, Ted DiBiase, all Hall of Famers at the moment. Crazy. In this match that we just saw. And, I mean, the list will freaking continue.
This was like no-brainers, too, like Hall of Famers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and we can go down the accolades of all these guys and what they accomplished in their careers. I mean, DiBiase, former tag team champion. DiBiase was like an NWA United States champion, I think, years before that. Davey Boy, Intercontinental Tag Team European champion. Mr. Perfect, Intercontinental champion. AWA World Heavyweight champion. Ric Flair, I mean, his resume speaks for itself. 16-time world champion. Tag team champion. U.S. champion. I mean, the list goes on and on. I think Ric Flair even wore the TV title at one point. So I mean, this is, in my opinion, in terms of accomplishments and accolades, the most stacked Royal Rumble class in history. Jimmy Hart, Hall of Famer, leading a non-Hall of Famer, Jerry Saggs of the Nasty Boys.
Are non-Hall of Fame.
No, but I can see them getting in.
They will be.
I can see them getting in. Yeah, they put the fucking Bushwhackers in it.
Yeah.
So. I'm sure the Nasty Boys could play a role in getting into the Hall of Fame. They were a fun little team. I mean, they didn't have like classics, but they had some fun matches with the Steiners and the Road Warriors.
Oh, they couldn't wrestle for shit.
They were good brawlers.
But they were entertaining. Yeah.
One of my favorites, Cactus Jack and Max Payne, Spring Stampede 1994. WCW. You have to go see that on Peacock. I know you don't really like the app too much, but Spring Stampede 1994, April of 1994 in WCW. Nasty Boys against Cactus Jack and Max Payne in a Chicago street fight. It was one of the most violent matches I had seen.
Really?
Without blood. Without blood, one of the most violent matches I'd seen between those two teams. They just beat the shit out of each other. And it was the closest thing to looking real. Like resembling a real fight. Like it was just, it's one of my favorite matches. I have a lot of favorite matches, but it's one of them. Oh,
no.
Is he out? Nope, not yet.
Oh, now he
is. See you later. See you later, Jerry Saggs. Now Flair's all by himself yet again. And you know what's great about this match too? I don't know if you remember, Dennis, but the commentary from Bobby Heenan. Because Bobby Heenan had so much invested in Rick, as a character in Ric Flair being his guy, that Heenan's just class. This is his greatest call, I think, of all time. And we'll play some audio. There's some spots in this match where he's got some classic stuff, some great one-liners in this match that people talk about to this day. Power slam by Bulldog as we continue here with Haku.
You put him in the Hall of Fame someday?
I think Haku could go in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, absolutely. Haku was a staple in the mid-card. King Haku at one point. He was part of the Islanders tag team. Colossal connection with Andre the Giant. He wrestled in. He was Andre's tag partner in Andre's last match in the WWF against Demolition at WrestleMania 6. You could definitely put Haku in the Hall of Fame. There's a rumor recently, and I know that you used to follow New Japan. You're not big too much on that, but there is a rumor as of late that WWE is interested in Haku's son, Tama Tonga, who is...
He's so good.
I've seen some stuff from him. I don't watch a whole lot of New Japan.
Him and Gorillas of Destiny are so good.
Well, they're only interested in him so far.
That's too bad.
But I would imagine they might give the other kid a look, too. Tongaloa, who was in WWE previously. He was... what was he? He was like a bodyguard, like Hunico or something like that. Like he was a bodyguard for like some Mexican wrestler. Okay. It was like in 2011, 2012 maybe. Nice pile driver by Haku there. And of course, we've all heard the legendary stories of Haku over the years and his toughness.
Yeah, breaking handcuffs and all that other jazz.
There was one story Ric Flair told in a shoot interview once. They were in Japan on a tour. It was like Ric Flair, Haku, and Hawk, Road Warrior Hawk. They were all at the bar drinking, and there was some basketball players that were like pro basketball players that spotted them in there, and they did the whole, "Oh, you guys are fake," and
oh god.
So, Road Warrior Hawk went to the what was it, the gift shop in the hotel, and they were selling disposable razor blades for guys to shave, and he broke one of the razor blades off and he cut his own forehead. He goes, "Is this fake now?" And then like the fight just turned crazy, and Haku threw somebody through a window, and they got arrested. But then because they were wrestling, the police let them go. And so you see Shawn Michaels entering. This is Shawn's first appearance as a solo performer after dumping Marty Jannetty and throwing him through the barbershop window.
Oh, so good.
So yeah, this is Shawn's first major event as a singles performer, and he wasn't even with Sherry then. So he was by himself, because we know Sherry was with DiBiase.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, this might have been Sherry's last major appearance. Oh, that was a horrible super kick. Flair blocked it like 5 feet away from his foot.
It's a Roman match. I would be ultra safe in a Roman match. I get that.
Yeah. Shawn is a singles performer here. It hit differently when I was younger, because I was a big Rockers guy.
I was a big Rockers guy too. Oh, Shawn's gone already.
No, not just yet. Not yet.
You tricked me.
Oh, another horrible super kick. He was testing that one out for a while, it sounds like.
Yeah, what was his finish on? Like a back body drop? Or
He did like a side suplex. Which was like weird.
Not back body. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he hit the super kick once, and Mr. Perfect on commentary called it sweet chin music. He said, "It's sweet chin music, McMahon." Mm-hmm. And it just stuck. That's the story I've heard over the years.
It's a good name.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a great name. But now everybody uses it.
Yeah.
And it's not a finishing move. It's become a transitional move.
And as much as I don't know if I'm such on the fence with the Young Bucks right now. But anyway, they killed the super kick.
Everybody did. Dolph did it. The Usos, the Young Bucks. Everybody was doing it. That was like when the DDT was a thing. The DDT was, you were done. You were out. Lights out. It was either Jake the Snake or Arn Anderson made that DDT a real deal. And everybody started doing it, and it became, a transitional move. As we see El Matador, Tito Santana, Arriba, another Hall of Famer. Shawn, also a 2-time Hall of Famer, went in as a solo act and went in as DX. Ric Flair, a 2-time Hall of Famer. Went in with the Four Horsemen and as a solo act. They'll probably throw him in with Evolution at one point, I'm sure.
You gotta figure Evolution's gonna make it.
Evolution will probably make it. Although the rumor is that Batista, because before COVID they announced Batista as an entrant in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He was going to go in with the NWO. And Batista, because of COVID, he turned it down. Or he agreed. Him and WWE came to an agreement that they'll do it at a later date. I have a feeling that at this upcoming WrestleMania in Hollywood this year, we will see Batista as the featured attraction in the Hall of Fame. They'll finally do it. Have you watched any movies that Batista's been in?
Yeah, James Bond. He was in that.
He was in a Bond movie?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't know
He
that.
was not the main villain, but the main villain's henchman.
Okay, so he played like a small part.
He was actually pretty good. He got thrown off. He was fighting Bond on a train, and somehow Bond figured out how to throw him off. But yeah, I'm trying to think what other Batista movies I've seen. I like a few of them. I really do. Man, drawing blanks were anyway, I saw at least one or two Batista movies where I'm like, this is pretty good.
He's in a movie
Of course, the fucking
Avengers.
Galaxy.
Yeah. I saw one of those Avengers with him in it, and it was pretty fun. I didn't see all of them. I'm not huge in the comic book movies. You would think as a wrestling fan I'd be a big comic book movie guy, but I'm not. I did see one movie where he played an undercover cop or something. It was it went straight to Netflix. This was one of his earlier movies. But he's actually in a movie with Diddy, so
He's
got a good role in it. Yeah, I think he's like a co-star or a supporting. I forget exactly, but he's got a good role in it. Yeah, I think he's like a co-star or a supporting. I forget exactly, but he's done quite a bit in the short period of time he's been gone from wrestling. So you see the Barbarian, not a Hall of Famer. We're going to go through who's in the Hall of Fame and who's not in the Hall of Fame as we watch this. But Barbarian, not in the Hall of Fame.
I would like to see the Faces of Fear someday make it to the Hall of Fame.
Him and Haku?
Yeah.
Together as a team? Or what about him and Warlord and Powers of Pain?
No, you got. I think Faces of Fear would definitely.
First of all, in my opinion, if Barbarian's going to go in with Haku as a team, you got to put Demolition in first.
Oh, absolutely. Demolition's not in the Hall of Fame yet.
No, because they were part of that gigantic class action lawsuit against WWE a number of years ago with the concussions. When the NFL got sued and paid out like $800 million to all these families and players of suffering the head trauma from playing, this lawyer out of New Jersey had rounded up like over 100 plus former wrestlers that were employed with WWE. Some actually weren't even employed with WWE, and they managed to get them involved in the lawsuit.
That's kind of crap.
Yeah, and the case got thrown out, but a lot of these guys, like Demolition, I think Barbarian was even a part of that lawsuit as well, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of guys were part of it, but Demolition's not in the Hall of Fame right now because of it.
That's crazy.
But we're living in a different time period, at least with WWE, now that, well, as of recently, Vince McMahon did come back and he's on the board again, but that's to facilitate a sale. Who do you think, if anyone's buying it, who do you think's taking it?
Probably Disney. Don't
You think Disney's going to get
They
it?
have so much money.
Yeah.
They have so much money.
Do you think Disney will stay true to it? Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, another Hall of Famer, went in with the Von Erichs in 2009.
Looking back at the Tornado's career in WWE, obviously he died, but there's so much meat to that bone, and you can tell he was digressing. I just never got that. I never got why he didn't get shot to the moon.
Well, because he, from what I gather, his reputation preceded him in terms of his reliability because of his drug issue behind the scenes. He also had he's wrestling with one foot, and a lot of guys in the locker room at that time didn't know this. He hid that very well. I think it's the right foot, if I'm not mistaken. You'll see that you can kind of tell that the right boot is thicker than the left one.
Like, what happened again? A
motorcycle accident. Yeah. They had to amputate his foot. Originally he got involved in a motorcycle accident, and he was in the hospital, and he was going to be out of action for a while. And I guess one night in the middle of the night, he got up to use the bathroom when he wasn't supposed to, or he fell off his bed in the hospital and crushed his foot, and then they had to amputate it.
Oh,
so not a lot of people knew about that with his foot injury. I believe during this time in WWF, a lot of people didn't know that he had an amputated foot. So he was wrestling with one foot, and I believe a prosthetic in that right boot.
Yeah, I would. If you didn't know the story, I don't think you would ever know in a million years.
Yeah. I mean, his debut when he came in and he beat Mr. Perfect. He was Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah.
It was great. He was.
He dropped the title too,
Back to Mr. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, he dropped it back to Mr. Perfect with help from the $1 Million Man. Mr. Perfect hired the $1 Million Man to cost him the title.
And I was about to say,
dumb
question. I was about to say it's the Repo Man Hall of Fame and Demolition, but we already know that.
Yeah, he's not. It'd be funny if they put him in as Repo Man first before Demolition. Yeah. That'd be interesting. But yeah, Barry Darsow, Repo Man.
You never know.
A man of many gimmicks.
I really do think they put. I know I said it at least 3 or 4 times on this podcast, but I really believe they put the Coco Beware in so they could put
guys like him in.
Yeah.
Coco. I mean. People will argue Coco was a great performer. He
really was.
He was a good performer, and they talked about how much of a draw he was in Memphis. I feel like here's what I feel like, okay? And this isn't a slight, and this might come across the wrong way, but I feel like Junkyard Dog as an African American wrestler set the bar so high for the African American community that everybody else that came after him was kind of a step down because Junkyard Dog was so good.
Good point.
Coco Beware was a great performer, and people were into him, but everyone's criteria is different for the Hall of Fame, and I just didn't think he fit that criteria. Did the people like him? Yes. Did he have a long, sustainable run? You could argue yes in some cases, but he didn't win any titles. He was on the losing end quite often. So
yeah,
I don't I didn't think that. I didn't think him. I didn't think the Bushwhackers, Godfather. Well, I don't know. Godfather and Big Boss Man are two that like I could argue that should have gotten in the well, they are in the Hall of Fame, but that it was reasonable to put them in the Hall of Fame because they were both popular characters and they were over. You know what I mean? Bushwhackers were over too. Everybody fucking waved their arms and did the Bushwhacker walk. And they all licked each other, but at the same time, like
I think you gotta put the no-brainers in first. The Demolitions, the Rockers. You gotta do that before you put Bushwhackers.
Greg Valentine, the Hammer.
No, you gotta be a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
He is a Hall of Famer. Yes, he went in 2004. Former Intercontinental Champion, former Tag Team Champion, former WCW United States Tag Team Champion, former NWA United States Singles Champion. Valentine's, probably his best work was Roddy Piper leading into the Starrcade, the dog collar match. Yeah. And then his stuff with Tito Santana in the WWF right before the big boom, before WrestleMania. Because I'd seen some shoot interviews where Valentine and Tito thought they were going to have their big blow-off match at WrestleMania 1. And Vince went in a different direction and put Valentine with Junkyard Dog, and then went to Tito and said, I need you to work with the Executioner because you're reliable and I know you're going to put out a good opening match. So Vince was trying to spread the wealth out on the WrestleMania 1 card, and so he blew off Tito and Valentine just a little bit early. But a lot of people have said that Valentine and Tito probably should have ended at WrestleMania 1. That should have been the blow-off for the Intercontinental title.
Are you not? Like, I don't know.
I watched a cage match with them once on YouTube that was a lot of fun. And I'm not a big Greg Valentine guy, but very underrated back then in terms of his ability in the ring and his psychology.
So who do you think that... I always wonder about this question. Who did the figure four first? Was it Greg or was it Rick?
Honestly, I think it was Buddy Rogers.
And I'm just saying, though, between those two guys.
Between those two guys?
Like a huge thing.
I think, honestly, Nikolai Volkov here, another Hall of Famer. I don't know who did it first. It could have been Flair, and Valentine could have adopted it, but both Flair and Valentine were actually a tag team in the NWA in the early days. Before Flair's major run as the Nature Boy. I
do remember that was always the big recess talk, like Greg does it better, Rick does it better.
Yeah.
I always thought, I wonder who did it first.
I don't. To be honest with you, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
I would say that was legitimate for the wrestling clique and elementary school. That was a big thing. It really was.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Because I remember, WWF was the first wrestling that I was exposed to, and then I would see NWA not long after. I think it was like 88, 87, 88 was when I would watch NWA.
Did you have the same thing? That Saturday mornings when Glow Wrestling at 10.
Didn't watch a lot of Glow. Here, speaking of which, Valentine's putting a figure four on Flair.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Look at that. All right, continue. So Glow at 10.
Glow was at 10. NWA was at 11, and the WWE was at 12. And I'm almost sure it was at the same station.
I didn't watch a lot of Glow, so I don't remember, but I do remember watching WWF first and then NWA later. But then there were times where I remember watching NWA first earlier in the morning.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was on at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And then WWF would be on at like 10 or 11, whether it was Superstars or Wrestling Challenge. One of the two.
I think it was ABC Channel 8 in Connecticut. I know Glow and WWE, or WWF at the time, definitely were on the same station. But I'm almost certain that I remember it went 10, 11, 12.
Speaking of which, here's the Big Boss Man.
No,
Hall of Famer. He was a guy that I thought, as a kid, would have been a good Intercontinental Champion because he was so popular.
Oh, totally.
He was so popular.
Did he win any championship tag or?
He was actually when
he was at the hardcore.
He was the hardcore champion, and then he was actually a tag team champion with Ken Shamrock in the '90s, in the late '90s.
I don't remember that at all.
Part of the corporation with Vince.
Okay.
He was Vince's like bodyguard.
I remember, of course, I remember him getting hanged on the.
From the Hell in the Cell, yeah.
But that's in your opinion, where's Hell in the Cell? Other than
Seth Rollins and the Fiend.
Yeah, it was pretty bad too. And I was gonna say the dog kennel match, but I actually think the dog kennel match might have been better than the Fiend versus Seth Rollins. And you're like to a Bray Wyatt super fan too.
Yeah. Boss Man. I just remember. I think that as a kid, as a teenager, I expected more because that Hell in the Cell between him and Undertaker at WrestleMania 15 was about 7 or 8 months. Following Undertaker Mankind when he threw Mankind off the Hell in the Cell. Which, by the way, we're going to watch that match in full this year because we're going to approach the 25-year anniversary of that Hell in the Cell match. I'm sure a lot of podcasts are going to be covering that as well. Flair dumps Bulldog. We got Repo Man just got dumped over by Big Boss Man. We're keeping track here. We're currently at 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 21 seconds. Kerry Von Erich, he's goner. We still got Sean, El Matador, Tito Santana, and the Barbarian in this match. Flair's fighting for his life here. Let's play the audio, see what the audio... Oh, let's play the audio because someone else is coming out next. Let's take a listen. Tito and El Matador and Michaels are gone.
Yes. He does shit there.
He does.
That's correct. Hopefully the last to Flair. What's wrong with you, Hercules? Maybe he remembers how you treated him. Every man for himself. Oh, a high five there. What's wrong about Bernie now? And sucker. Don't turn on him, Rick. Don't turn on him, hit. Rick, don't. No. Women trying to use a little reverse psychology. Good backfire here. Oh, look at this power. Wow. You can't take too many of those. Get out. Come on, there. What happens if he falls out to the floor? That's okay, right? As long as he doesn't go over the top. Take a hug. Oh, look at this. Oh, my God. It's all Flair. Oh, God, no. Oh, look at that. Hercules dumping. Barbarian and now.
Oh.
Boss Man eliminated. Boss Man came on the apron. Now he's saying it's you and me, Flair.
Oh, finger in the eye.
The oxygen. I think it's Flair who's going to be the oxygen.
Yep, but
Oh, clothesline down to Boss Man. Who is Flair in now? Flair in excess of 20-something minutes now. Coming up on 30 minutes, I do believe. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no.
oh, there he goes.
Nice move.
That was awful.
Speeding the ground. Throws the champion away. What? Are you kidding? Here's a ball, guys.
Oh, that's good.
Step the car. Take a breather. That's his chance only. Listen to me.
All right, I think Piper's next, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to take a look at my list right now.
Sucking, trying to get that oxygen in.
Yeah, Piper is next.
And here comes Ray. Oh, no. Of all the people, anyone but Piper. Here's Piper. Piper could be done. Oh, listen. This isn't fair to Flair. Of all the people, Intercontinental champion of the going bananas. Oh, going with a banter. Flair wasn't taking 25 knockouts today. And Flair scoots out underneath. Great Flair move. He's after you. He's going out there to get him. He knows he's going to have him inside the ring. They're going to go there. You know how you're here. You know how Piper feels about that man. I doubt if he even cares about winning that title. He's got one, but he'd rather keep Flair from winning. He'll do anything he can. Don't get yourself all over it, Brain. Hot Rod's thinking about that title just like everybody else is. Stop it. I've never seen Ric Flair look at that meeting like that. What a move by Flair, but Banter just too much for that cannibal. Oh, 27 minutes for Flair and counting. Look at this. Byron's carry into an airplane spin. Hold on, Flair. No, you don't know where he's hit.
Oh, sleeper. It's all good.
He can dump him. I know he can dump him if that happens. Hot Rod would have taken it right out of there with a shoulder block or a drop kick. As Flair just did. He's choking the life out of him. And another contestant about to emerge. 5 seconds.
Oh, interesting here.
He's got to get him up on his feet to throw him out, though. Who's it going to be?
Jake the Snake, another open.
Trust me. You're one of the most dangerous men walking the face of this earth.
This is great commentary by Bobby here coming up. You'll like this.
You don't want to get involved. He's too smart for that. He's inviting Piper over. Piper thinking doing permanent damage. Piper's got the right idea. He's holding on the player. Thank you, Jake. Thank you. Broke that up in a hurry. Look at Flair. He is spent. He's out of it. But you can't trust Jake either. We all don't trust anyone in the Royal Rumble. But especially this man. Flair's starting to move. Listen to the chant from this capacity crowd. It's rocking. Look at classy eyed. He's classy eyed. Oh, look at this. Short clothesline. You just said thanks, Jake. You can't trust this thing. I already said that. It's definitely not fair to Flair. What a tremendous Royal Rumble. How long's he been in now? 30 minutes and counting.
Wow.
No.
This is such a fun match. It's 30 minutes before it gets 10.
I know.
I say this, but thank you, Ronnie. It's a kill. It's not a skirt. It's a kill. Oh, it's a figure four by Ric Flair on Jake the Snake. Hey, look at Ronnie. He's giving it the moment. Well, you know good prick. You skirt wearing freak. It's not a kill. It's a skirt. I can't believe Flair's still on his feet.
Bobby Heenan at his best.
Yeah,
He's really selling the fact that this is such a big deal for him because Flair's his client. You know, I love it. Jake the Snake, Hall of Famer. Roddy Piper, Hall of Famer. Roddy Piper winning the Intercontinental Championship from the Mountie earlier in this broadcast.
Duggan, no Hall of Famer.
Duggan, another Hall of Famer. That's right. Duggan winning in 2000.
What really happened to poor Duggan?
Duggan, this is an interesting story. It was right around Christmas time. Someone broke into his house, this young kid. And Duggan managed to subdue the kid. Didn't hurt him.
Oh, really? I thought...
But the kid, I guess, was peer pressured to, like, break into the house or something, like, with a couple of other friends. And the kid got caught, and Duggan was home. And Duggan ended up subduing the kid until the police came. And he was, like, a minor, too. He was, like, a young kid. He wasn't, like...
yeah.
But yeah, Duggan stopped the home invasion from taking place.
I just didn't I just didn't know the full story. I just know like he was in the news. That
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yeah.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan home invasion. I'll probably find it like that. Okay. Here we go. Hacksaw Jim Duggan held a suspect at gunpoint at his residence on December 8th until police arrived on the scene in South Carolina. Duggan discussed the incident in an interview, explaining that the man climbed over the fence at his home and ran through the yard to the front door, pounding on the glass doors. Hall of Fame inductee Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Hold on a second. When the man opened the door and entered the home, Duggan was there with a gun. Duggan held the man at gunpoint while another person called the police. No one was injured. Turns out, I guess this individual... I got the stories mixed up.
Yeah.
So apparently it turns out this individual was running to get help because he was being chased by somebody.
Okay.
And so he ran into Duggan's house. And Duggan subdued him with a gun. or held him up at gunpoint until the cops came.
So a kid or adult was getting chased by people.
Yeah.
And
so I got the story all wrong. So it was a young kid.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he was. Doesn't say in the article, but he was being chased by somebody. Broke into Duggan's house, tried to get in. Duggan opened the door with a gun, kept him at gunpoint until the cops came. So hero. In a way. Saved his house, but also saved that kid's life. In some regards. So we see Erwin R. Shyster. Otherwise known as IRS.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
No, he is not.
Oh, come on. You got to put him in.
Mike Rotundo? Yeah, I would think that he would.
Put him in.
I would think he'd been a Hall of Famer.
I love IRS.
Mike Rotundo was a solid performer. The father of current WWE superstar Bray Wyatt.
Maybe I'm biased because I said this a million times. I'll say it again. I am a super fan of Bray.
The brother-in-law to Barry Windham, who recently suffered a heart attack.
Oh, really? Is he okay?
Yeah, he's good now.
I love Barry.
But he was in ICU for a little bit. He suffered a heart attack and went into cardiac arrest in the airport in Atlanta, and someone gave him chest compressions and saved his life.
Jesus.
And so now there's been a GoFundMe account that was put together for Barry Windham. Lots of wrestlers and fans in the wrestling community donated to Barry's medical bills because most of these wrestlers don't have insurance. Some of them didn't even save their mone. So
this is getting way off the rails, but I think this is just crazy in my opinion. So I've been unemployed. I finally got a job. Yay, front desk. Anyway, I was unemployed for like 3 months. So I got Husky insurance. Yep. My Husky insurance, which of course you're paid for.
Yep.
Is better than the insurance that was paid for at the.
Anyway,
I think it's crazy. Yeah. I'm just saying these wrestlers should get Husky insurance. I'm not joking. But anyway.
In the state of Connecticut, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Jimmy Snuka, Hall of Famer.
Piece of shit, but Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah, that's right. You claim him to. Oh, I mean, the evidence does point.
He fucking killed that girl. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I like to think innocent until proven guilty, but there's some times where, come on, man.
And that's where your disdain for Vince McMahon is, because in the story, Vince helped him cover it up, or Vince got him out of it.
When I read that story when I was like 14 years old. I remember I was just reading it, and I'm just like,
You were 14 when it happened?
No. I was, I didn't even know it even happened.
Yeah.
I just remember my dad said something about, I used to love Jimmy Snuka.
Yep.
And my dad goes, "You like that piece of shit?" And I'm like, why are you calling him a piece of shit? And it's like, just look him up, Dennis. And like, somehow I got like a newspaper article on him or something. It was very obscure, and I just saw it in the library, and I'm like,
yeah,
this guy is a piece of shit.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know what we're discussing. Jimmy Snuka was involved with a woman, and they're married, right? Wasn't his wife?
I think girlfriend, but like very close, maybe fiance even.
Okay, he was with a woman. He was with a woman, and there was an incident at a hotel where things got physical, and allegedly, the story goes is that she hit her head on like the corner of like a dresser or a nightstand or something like that. But a lot of evidence on her body proves that there was just more than that. And Snuka claims that she just fell and hit her head.
Then goes to work. Then goes to wrestle.
And then goes to wrestle, and then she was found dead. And speaking of dead, here's, "Oh, my Undertaker! Yes, it's time for the Royal Rumble. 29 bodies, 29 caskets."
That was such a great promo.
It was. That was a great promo. Yeah.
I miss.
Paul Bearer was such a. I'm so glad that when Undertaker went in the Hall of Fame, he took time out of his speech to address Paul Bearer and what Paul Bearer meant to his character and his career. Because that Paul Bearer character... Larry, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
And really think about this question here, okay?
Yeah.
If there was no Paul Bearer... Oh, wow. Snuka's gone. He's like, "You murdering piece of shit. You're out of the Rumble."
Still good job, sit on the Taker again.
"You killed your wife. Now you're eliminated. Rest in peace." Undertaker, if there was no Paul Bearer to Undertaker, let's just say they kept Brother Love with Undertaker, do you think Undertaker's character would have been as successful?
He was so good. I gotta say yes, but like they were peanut butter and jelly.
They were. It was
They were. But let's just say for condiments, to make a condiment analogy. Like, do you put peanut butter in the Hall of Fame of condiments? Absolutely. You put jelly in there,
and then you can put them together. You can make
put
a sandwich.
You get something really, really amazing, right?
Yep.
But you just got to think just by how awesome he was. Like, here's a better question, in my opinion: would the Undertaker gimmick have lasted as long without Paul Bearer? I don't know. I think you might have to switch gimmicks, but I think. The Mark Gallows, by hook or crook, yes. Gallows, sorry. Would absolutely be in the Hall of Fame. He's just so fucking good. He's the best big man, in my opinion, of all time. And I love me some horses, but he's the best.
Yeah, I'd say Undertaker is the best big man, yeah. Macho Man in the house, another Hall of Famer.
To my opinion, I know we pre-production we talked about the stupidest eliminations of all time,
and we're gonna get to this because I'm gonna show you. I'm
dying to see this.
I'm gonna show you a stupid elimination that involves.
But how can that be stupider
listen,
than that?
Listen,
Okay.
watch.
Right.
It's fucking stupid. Randy Savage, Jake the Snake, Undertaker. We're gonna play the audio for this.
Okay, what's happening soon, huh?
Yeah. Watch. Just watch this.
Oh, what are you doing?
Told you. Look at that. Now listen.
And the Taker eliminated himself too?
Just listen.
I'm speechless.
Listen, shut up. All right. So you just saw that.
Yeah.
He eliminates Jake. He throws himself over the top rope.
Yeah.
They call an audible. Undertaker goes out there to try and get him back in the ring because Savage is so caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
That on commentary, Gorilla's like, "Oh, he just wasted an opportunity to get his hands on Jake," and then Bobby saves it by saying, "Oh no, he had to be thrown over the top rope. He couldn't eliminate himself." So there was a fuck up there. That is the dumbest Royal Rumble elimination. That and when Mil Mascaras jumped off the top rope in the '97 Royal Rumble.
Guy,
yeah.
Wow.
That is dumber than the one the following year when Yokozuna eliminated Randy Savage, in my opinion. You may have a different
or splitting hairs, in my opinion, but I just think it's still Yokozuna's stupider because here's the thing. All right. He ruined his, his marriage, or the wedding day. You know what I mean?
So I get it. Jake and Undertaker.
I get it. He didn't rage, right?
And a month prior, he wrestles Jake at this Tuesday in Texas, and Jake the Snake slaps Miss Elizabeth in the face.
Yeah. So I get it. He's in heated rage.
Yep.
He knocks him over. Now he wants to kill him, right?
Yep.
But the elimination against Yokozuna. He does the elbow drop
and goes for the
pin.
Goes for the pin.
And then Yokozuna's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
I still think that's dumber. I don't know.
Yeah, like you said, we're splitting hairs. But
you're right, Toe. I couldn't believe it.
I'm surprised you didn't remember that.
I don't. You know my memory. Shut the fuck.
Yeah, that's true.
That
Berserker, not a Hall of Famer.
But technically, I guess he didn't get eliminated because
he's back in the ring. Yeah, because he fucked up. He got so worked into the spot that he went with instinct and threw himself out.
Oh, man. But yeah, that was pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Yep.
Berserker, not a Hall of Famer. I don't think he'll be one anytime soon.
I don't think so either.
But
Maybe.
let's, I'm going to go through this list right now as we're watching this, okay? So, British Bulldog, Ted DiBiase, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Tito Santana, Texas Tornado, Greg Valentine, Nikolai Volkov, Big Boss Man, Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake, Jim Duggan, Jimmy Snuka, Undertaker, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Sergeant Slaughter, all Hall of Famers.
That's crazy. And what was that, 20?
I'll go through the list here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 out of the 30 are currently dubbed Hall of Famers.
And
Flair and Hogan and Michaels are the only two-time Hall of Famers out of this bunch.
This is current. I truly believe, put Repo Man in for demolition. That's going to happen someday. Come on.
Oh, you know what? Oh, you know what? Here, I forgot somebody.
Yeah.
He wrestled under a different persona, but the Iron Sheik, he's a Hall of Famer, and he's coming in as Colonel Mustafa in this Royal Rumble.
Good point.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's
up to 18 current.
So, yeah.
And I think IRS had the puncher chance.
Yep.
I even think Virgil, believe it, I could be as a manager to DiBiase. I think he. Nah, probably not.
No.
I was trying to.
No.
I'm sorry. I tried.
No. Virgil was over for like 3 months when DiBiase dumped him and he won the $1 million belt.
But how about him as the manager? You don't think he didn't do much, right?
He didn't do much.
He didn't talk. He
didn't talk. He handed DiBiase the money. He took the bumps. Like he wasn't like. He wasn't like a Jimmy Hart or like a Mr. Fuji,
You know how pissed you must have been? You're outside Jim Duggan, right? You're driving these piece of shit, cars for the rental cars.
Yep.
That driving 200 miles, and here's DiBiase. I think DiBiase. Well, you had to do the gimmick, right? But here's fucking Virgil, right? Just following DiBiase in these awesome cars.
Yep.
Getting
limo service.
Getting limo services.
Because back then Vince wanted you to.
Of course.
Vince gave them. The story I heard was Vince gave them play money and said, "Here you go. This is you have to live this character.
Yeah.
And so if you go out to a nice restaurant, you gotta spend the money. Limo service, we'll take care of it. Airfare, we'll take care of it. Like they literally.
Can you imagine your DiBiase? You must have been like, yeah, I think I can do that.
and the premise behind the $1 Million Man character came from an incident that took place on an airplane once with Vince McMahon. Bruce Pritchard told this story.
Yeah.
Vince is sitting in first class. There's a guy sitting next to him. Lights up a cigarette. Vince hates smoking. Vince offers him $50. Nope. Pal, I'll give you $100. Nope. How about $200? Nope. All right, dude, I'll give you $500 if you don't smoke that cigarette for the entire flight. Okay, done. Hands him the cash, doesn't light up one bit. Bruce looks over him and says, God damn, you're the $1 Million Man. And that's where the name came from, and that's where it was born with DiBiase. As we see Iron Sheik Baba Colonel Mustafa with General Adnan into the Royal Rumble. I break your back and make you humble. Fuck Hulk Hogan, the big jabroni. Iron Sheik, there's some great Iron Sheik stories. Sometimes I'll go on YouTube and I will just type in Iron Sheik stories and I will watch shoot interviews of guys that traveled with Iron Sheik and had some great stories. Marty Jannetty tells a hilarious Iron Sheik story. They were at some club and Jannetty had like 2 girls and he was trying to mess around with one of them, so he told Sheik to keep the other one distracted. So Sheik brings the girl up to the room, and Sheik thinks he's going to get some pussy, so he like offers her a drink. Yeah. He smokes some weed. He gives her a little booger sugar, and she don't want any part of it. And she's just she does all the stuff, but she don't want to give anything up to him.
Yeah.
So Jannetty fucking is with the other girl, and he goes up to the room, and he leaves her room, and there's a window in the hallway where you could see the front desk or the front outside area of the hotel, and Jannetty sees this girl that he was with previously getting wheeled into an ambulance. So
shit.
so he fucking knocks on Sheik's door, and he's like, I told you to watch her. What the fuck happened? And Sheik tells her, he's like, Mati, I give her drink, she take drink. I give her smoke, she smoke. I give her, little powder, she take the powder. But then when, I try to tell her, okay, it's time for Sheiky baby, she say no. So I give her a short clothesline.
He hit her?
Jannetty says that he clotheslined her. The way Jannetty tells the story, it's fucking hilarious.
How did he not go to jail?
It's hilarious. Well, he hid in the fucking... So the cops show up to Jannetty's room, and they're looking for him. They're looking for the Sheik.
Yeah.
But they went by his real name. We're looking for Kazaro, such and such, or whatever, right? He was like, I don't know who that is. And they were like, Iron Sheik, the wrestler. He goes, I don't know. I don't think he's here. I think he left. But Sheik got away with it. He fucking clotheslined this chick because she wouldn't give it up to him.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Rick Martel, a guy who definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
How about put Tito as a double with the Strike Force?
Now, I like Tito winning solo by himself. Yeah. I think Martel should go in as the model.
Totally.
He had a great gimmick. The stuff he did with Jake the Snake.
Yeah. The blindfold match, I don't think it's the shit that a lot of people make it out to be. But
it's such a great concept.
But that was a great rivalry.
It was a great rivalry. The blindfold match was a fitting end to the rivalry. And Jake, being such a master psychologist, he played that role so well. Yeah. And Martel was such a good chicken shit heel. It worked. It absolutely worked. It's a hidden gem for me. It's people, like you said, they shit on it because of the gimmick, but Jake made it work, man. So did Martel. They both did. It was a nice little mid-card match for that WrestleMania.
You know me. I like. Sometimes I enjoy, at least for critiquing. I like shitty things more than I like good things, right?
Yep.
So if you have if I'm reading a top 10 list of worst WrestleMania matches, and if it has the blindfold match, I go on the next list. I'm like, you're full of shit. You're just being stupid. By Rick Martel, here comes Hogan. I think definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for sure.
Yeah, I'm going on a limb. This year's Hall of Fame.
No,
I think Batista's the headliner. I think Martel makes it in. I think they're going to shorten it to like 4 or 5 candidates. So.
They gotta slow the pony down because they're gonna run out.
Well, the thing is that now they tape the Hall of Fame after SmackDown airs on Friday nights, so everybody in the arena that goes to SmackDown gets the Hall of Fame for free. Cool. So, but it to me, I think it cheapens the concept.
Totally, absolutely.
I think it cheapens the concept. I think they could still do the Hall of Fame separately. I think they can run it separately, but make it more intimate. Put it in honestly, I would put it in like a theater. Like not like a big giant arena, but like a theater that seats maybe like 1,000. They did it a couple times in the theater. Oh, Undertaker's gone. Hogan eliminates him. That's the end of Undertaker's run in the Rumble match, and here goes the Berserker.
I used to love the Berserker.
Husk.
That was an homage to the Bruiser. Right?
Bruiser Brody, yeah, because him and Brody used to tag in Japan.
Really, never did that.
Yeah, it was like brief. It was not like it wasn't to the depths of like Brody and Hansen when they were a legendary team in Japan. Yeah. But Brody tagged with him.
Oh, there's Virgil.
Virgil and Duggan are gone. All right, we're down to the nitty gritty here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we have how many more entrants? 1, 2, 3. We have 4 more entrants left in this Royal Rumble match to round out the competition of 30. And coming up next is an individual who's not in the Hall of Fame, probably doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but low-key, now, 31 years later, this is an interesting gimmick. Was the alligator man, Skinner.
Yeah, Skinner.
Yeah. This was an interesting little, back swampy, gimmick, if you will.
Yeah. I remember seeing the promos, but I don't remember anything he said. Was he creepy or anything like that? Or?
He was, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say creepy, but they'd have him in the Swan, and I guess like in real life, Steve Kern has he has a background in like not hunting alligators, but like alligator calls, like you know how there's like bird calls, like there's like an alligator like whistle call or whatever that like you can use like, and I guess in real because he's from Florida, so he's there's a lot of alligators down there like there are bears in the Northeast up here, but. Baron Corbin once told a story that he was traveling with Steve Kern when he was in NXT, because Steve Kern was an agent, and him and Kern were having a conversation about the Skinner character and about like the vignettes and all the alligator, like the mating calls or whatever. I don't know if it's a mating call or if it's like a cat call and Kern bet him like I think like $20 or something. He was like, I bet you we pull over on the side of the road, I can get an alligator to come up to the car. He's like, no fucking way. So he does his little fucking his whistle thing or whatever, and this fucking gator comes out. Yep. Yeah, legit.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. So he's got a background in that. But the vignettes used to be like he would be in the water. He'd rise up from the water. He had like the knife in his mouth and like the little alligator claw hanging. I don't know. I don't remember if he actually had like a live alligator in any of those vignettes. I'll have to YouTube that and look it up. But I have the one and only Skinner action figure in my case over there, next to the Mountie.
No way.
Yep, there's a Skinner action figure.
Oh, yeah.
So, Sergeant Slaughter, Mr. G.I. Joe, Hall of Famer, former WWF champion. I don't think he's currently employed with the WWE at this moment. I don't think he works for them anymore. But I just read recently that he's not thrilled with Lacey Evans using the Cobra Clutch as her finish. She's doing like a USA military type gimmick.
I kind of like the woman's right. I'm sad she doesn't do that anymore.
They repackaged her.
Yeah.
Because they needed to. Plus, she's a great athlete, good performer. So they're kind of giving her the patriotic female Sergeant Slaughter type of deal, but like a modernized version of it. And I guess she had even said she'd love for Slaughter to be like her manager on TV.
Yeah.
But Slaughter had an interview recently on like a podcast or something. And he said he wasn't thrilled that she was using the Cobra Clutch as her finish. But yeah, everybody uses everybody's move. Like.
And she has a GI, a GI gimmick.
GI Jane, yeah.
That I always thought though, seriously, that they could always package her as like, the Miss America. I'm a Marine, I'm a single mother, and I think
she's married now, but yeah, she got a couple of kids.
She could have been like this huge baby face, but
I think I think that's what they're going for. They're going for like a very athletic, patriotic Marine type of presentation with her. They've done some vignettes with her where she's like doing like combat training and stuff like that, like at like a boot camp with like other soldiers, and I think it's like some military base in like South Carolina. They filmed it recently. I saw it actually came out pretty good. We'll see how it reflects on TV, but as we get another entry into this Royal Rumble, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's a guy who I think should be in the Hall of Fame. One of the most underrated big men of all time, Sid Vicious, Sid Justice.
He's not in the Hall of Fame.
He's not in the Hall of Fame either.
I'm sorry. Him and Repo Man, I'm just saying, someday,
Repo Man.
Not the
Demolition.
Repo Man,
Yeah.
Demolition.
Demolition, yeah. Sid's not in it, no.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I heard a story once years ago that they asked him to participate. And they wanted to put him in, but he wanted more money than they offered, and they weren't having that. But
gotcha.
I believe he'll be in someday. Very underrated big man.
Oh, totally.
He couldn't wrestle for shit, but he played the big man role well. He really did.
Yeah, I still put him in my top 5 favorite big men of all time.
All right, so let's do this. So him and Undertaker are clearly.
Taker is 1.
Yep.
I gotta put Earthquake in there. I just know Undertaker's number 1. So for now, though, I'm not putting in any particular order.
These are your 5, but no particular order.
Yep. Earthquake for sure.
Undertaker, Sid, Earthquake,
Vader.
That's 4. So you got one more.
Big man. Love my horses. Andre the Giant. Done.
I got Undertaker, Sid, Kane, Yokozuna, Andre the Giant.
Nice list.
Vader. You could put Vader in there. You could kind of interchange maybe Vader and Sid out of those.
I've never been. I love Yokozuna, but I can't put him in my top 5 just because he was just a fat ass. He couldn't move.
What are you talking about? He couldn't move.
I mean,
towards the end, he couldn't move.
You're right.
In the beginning, he was.
You're right. I'm glad you corrected me. You gave me a head shake. But
that was the appeal.
Yeah, he did that little kick thing. Yeah.
That was the appeal in the beginning when they introduced the Yokozuna character. Warlord entering at number 30 with Dr. Harvey Whippleman.
I would love to see Whippleman in the Hall of Fame. Not going to happen, but
no.
I think
honestly though, actually, you know what? You're right. I think he deserves to go in the Hall of Fame, not for his performance as a character on TV, but his dedication to the company throughout the years behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Whippleman was pretty much like the little gopher that did everything for them. Like he was like an assistant to all. Like he would pick guys up, beer runs, like you name it. Like you know, I think he helped The Rock find an apartment in Memphis when when The Rock was first training and starting out. Like they had him down in Memphis working USWA shows for Lawler and the Jarretts, and I think he helped The Rock find an apartment. Like he used to drive around with him. Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Look at the elimination by Slaughter.
I love when he did that bump.
Slaughter, that was a great bump. Sid made Sid look like a monster. That's great. That was a great bump. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. We're getting towards the end of this Royal Rumble match. Who's left? Hogan, Flair, Sid, IRS, Warlord, Randy Savage, and the model Rick Martel.
So Macho Man's still in there, even though
he eliminated himself. Yeah. Well, like I told you, Piper's in there too. I forgot about Piper.
Yeah.
Piper must have been hiding somewhere.
I mean, obviously Flair's got to be there the longest. You got to figure second longest has to be Piper.
Yep. Flair's the longest. Piper's the second longest. Flair came in at number 3 in this Royal Rumble match, and Piper came in at number 15. So Piper reached the halfway point.
That was a cool. I mean, they didn't show it. They missed half the elimination. That
was
cool.
IRS.
Yeah, I was shaking on the tie like that. That was cool.
Now we're having the discussion here. We're watching Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Is it safe to say that this is the greatest Royal Rumble match of all time,
bro? When they said, put it in perspective, and I'm not saying this because they're doing.
I still want you to answer my question, but go around the block for me.
You know, I'm always going around the block. But then when they said we're at the 30-minute point, I thought we were like at 10 minutes. Indisputably, this is my favorite Rumble match
of all time.
I love it.
I love it. If you were to do a Mount Rushmore of Royal Rumble matches, you'd see Sid dump both Piper and Rick Martel. What are the other 3 Royal Rumble matches? All right, so make the cut with this match.
So I'm bad at years. All
right,
Stone Cold.
Which one? He won 3 of them.
I was going to try to get at not the first one where they got the 4, but the second time
in '98.
'98.
That's a great Rumble match.
I like the '98.
I like that one too.
Unpopular. This is going to be an unpopular one, and I'm not even a big Steiner Bomber fan. But when he came out at 30, I thought that was amazing.
2008.
I love that. Yeah, I just love that.
That was a good finish. Here's speaking of finishes. Here's the finish of this match now.
This is a heel move right now.
Watch. Just watch.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Great finish.
Yeah.
Loved it. Flair made history as he leaves with Mr. Perfect. Okay, so Flair,
Yep.
92. Austin,
Yep.
98. Cena, 2008.
Yep.
Great finish to that Rumble.
and,
So what's the fourth and final match, Royal Rumble match that makes your Mount Rushmore of Royal Rumbles?
Ooh, that's such a good one. Oh man, I gotta go. Shawn Michaels, British Bulldog finale
From 95.
Yeah. That
Wow,
was so
okay.
Good. That was so good.
All
Even though it lacked, it had like no superstars. The match itself was really good, and
Okay.
it was, and man, I gotta go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can get behind that. So this match here, 92 Rumble,
Yep.
makes it for me as part of the Mount Rushmore. The other three, 94, when Bret and Lex tied. When Bret Hart and Lex Luger were a tie. And I only like that because I ordered it on pay-per-view. I
Yeah.
had friends over. It was a fun Rumble.
It was a fun Rumble.
Bret had got his leg kicked out of his leg by his brother Owen. Luger, there was controversy with him because he wasn't supposed to be in the match because of the stipulation from SummerSlam with Yokozuna. So when they tied, I was like torn because I liked Luger, but I liked Bret, you know? So that's
that whole
their
part too. What a great Rumble. That might be my anyway.
Diesel had that great
Yep.
run in that match
Yep.
to eliminate like 7 or 8
So good.
guys, right?
Yep.
So it's a fun Rumble.
Yep.
2007, Undertaker entering at number 30 and winning it. He was the first one to do it the year before Cena.
Yeah.
And he had that like 11-minute back and forth with Shawn Michaels
So
in that
good.
finale.
So good.
That was the match where everyone was like, those two got to do it at WrestleMania.
Yep. So good.
Okay? That's the third right there. So 92, 94, 2007. And if I were to pick a Royal Rumble match to round out my Mount Rushmore, damn. I mean, I was at 2011, but that wasn't a great one when Alberto Del Rio won.
Oh,
There was 40 guys in that match.
I was so cheering for Santino Marella.
Oh, let's play the audio for
let's go.
for this here with Gene Okerlund.
We have a brand new World Wrestling Federation champion as the press watches on. At this time to present the title belt to the new champion, our president, the distinguished Jack Tunney.
Congratulations, Ric Flair, on becoming the undisputed champion of the World Wrestling Federation.
Want me to say, after viewing distorting the belt that proclaimed me the real world champion, I'm going to tell y'all with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life. When you walk around this world and you tell everybody you're number one, the only way you get to stay number one is to be number one. And this is the only title in the wrestling world that makes you number one. When you are the king of the WWF, you rule the world. Think about it like that, Mr. Perfect.
Guys, we got
The brain. Woo! Woo! Let's give him a big one. Woo! You did it. I was never so impressed with anything I've ever seen in all my life. He went out there for over 60 minutes, never took a back step, took it to Hogan, took it to The Undertaker, took it to whoever got in that ring. That's why he is, and he's called now, a real world
Talking about Hall of
heavyweight
Famers, by the way.
champion.
Oh, yeah.
The kind of
That gets
guys
good.
that say, we told you so, but we told you so.
Okay, very good. Ric Flair, you have made world. Put that cigarette out.
Oh, I love that.
Federation history here tonight.
It's the greatest moment of my life. I want to jump. I want to party. But I got to tell you like this. For the Hulk Hogans and the Macho Mans and the Pipers and the Sids, now it's Ric Flair. And y'all pay homage to the man. Woo! All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up. We hope you have enjoyed your Royal Rumble. For my broadcast colleagues, Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Sean Mooney, me, Gene Okerlund, saying so long from the Knickerbocker Arena in Albany, New York. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's revisit some of the highlights from this year's Royal Rumble.
And even that promo, the whipped cream on the Sunday for best Rumble of all time.
Yeah, I would have to agree. As we're watching here, the highlight package to end this Royal Rumble event, the fourth, honestly, Dennis, the fourth and final Royal Rumble match that I would put on my Mount Rushmore is the Steve Austin victory from 1998. Not only the fact that he won, the story going into it is that he kind of picked off all the guys in the match early on, but The Rock's performance, the three faces of Foley,
so
Mankind,
good,
Cactus, and Dude Love in that match.
Yeah.
That was just a really fun Royal Rumble match.
I'd love to see Bray do an homage to that spot someday.
That would be kind of cool
I
if he
love
did
that.
like Eater of Worlds, The Fiend, and then maybe like the Funhouse Bray. That would be fucking cool. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. That would be totally cool. But Dennis, this has been a lot of fun.
That was awesome.
Back in the saddle.
That was awesome.
We watched the 92 Rumble. We talked a lot about, the comings and goes. This was just an overall fun episode of Kicking Out at 2. And I'm looking forward to our next one because we're going to fast forward a year later to Ric Flair's last match in the WWF in 1993 against Mr. Perfect from one of the, I believe this is the third episode of Monday Night Raw ever in its inception. So we're going to have a lot of fun doing that with all of you here on Kicking Out at 2. And I think it's about that time that we put this recording down for the 3 count, and we'll see you all next time.